Welcome to the Mix Minus podcast. Matthew O'Daniels returns. Matt, it's been months.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy summer, but nonetheless, looking forward to college football and obviously baseball playoffs coming up. But yeah, here it is, August 23rd that we're recording. So,
first off, the one thing I love Facebook for now is to see where people are when they're not just home, because Facebook doesn't have a lot of use anymore, really. No one's really talking on it anymore. It's kind of closed groups a lot, I find now. But lo and behold, there you are checking into Edmonton or west of Edmonton or something. And I'm sitting there going, is this a prank? But no, there you are. What the heck took you up there?
I don't know. I love traveling. It's a lot of fun. And my friend from college, we planned this trip to Alberta and up the Canadian Rockies in like December, January, and we booked all this stuff. And so we went out there for 5 or 6 days, and it was awesome. Minus the smoke from the wildfires, which prevented any scenic views of the mountains. But nonetheless, we had a great time exploring Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Valemount, British Columbia, the Fraser River, which was cool seeing the salmon. They're just beginning to, spawn in the Fraser River, where they're going upstream 3,000 miles from the Pacific Ocean. So that was a lot of fun rafting the Fraser River, Mount Robson. It was just a lot of fun. I'd never been there before, and I want to go back for sure.
What's the vibe up there? What are people eating? What are the town folk like?
It's pretty much touristy. We went in the summer, so these are pretty much like ski towns, much like Banff was, or Jasper, Alberta. Kind of like sleepy, touristy ski towns. So tourism in the summer was, the hiking. Well, it was just basically showcasing the hikes, the waterfalls, and the glacial lakes. And then in the wintertime, skiing. And where we were in Valemount, British Columbia, there's no more than 2,000 people there at a time. It's so remote, but they do a lot of heli skiing, backcountry stuff. Very, very different. So it was a lot of fun.
You get nice and refreshed for some sports. Were you even able to keep up with anything?
Limited. When we were in Valemount, we stayed in a cabin by the Fraser River, which was awesome. Surprising to me that they did have a little Wi-Fi, but literally in the mountains with very limited interaction with people. Not a lot of people, a lot of nature, a lot of wildlife, bears, elk, caribou, you name it, salmon.
What's their American sports team there? Do they follow any, or is it the Edmonton Oilers? Well,
I flew into Calgary, and Calgary is obviously the Flames.
Yeah.
But I think they're into the hockey and more of the outdoor stuff. And then obviously the CFL, they have the Stampeders, Calgary Stampede, for the CFL. But I'd say it's pretty much hunting, fishing, outdoors, and then your Calgary Flames and I guess Edmonton Oilers.
Has Johnny Manziel fever made it out there?
It was funny because he suffered a concussion after his 4-interception performance a few weeks back. He suffered a concussion in the last game he played, so he was going through his concussion protocol. And I don't know. I think it's more of I don't know. I didn't really get a finger on the pulse because I only spent one night in Calgary. I was more or less in the Rockies hiking and whitewater rafting and just getting lost in the wilderness up there.
Well, let's get lost into some college football first here. So from everything I can see, it's a lot of guts football. It's a lot of line play. That's where a lot of the great players are. When you look at some of the mock drafts, you're seeing defensive end, offensive tackles, defensive end, defensive tackles. not a lot of skill players. And I think the skill players are what bring a lot of the casual fans to the game. I try to watch a lot. I watch a lot of the big games, Big 10, Big 12, all those different games. But what are your kind of overall thoughts going into the season? What are you excited about?
Well, personally, I'm excited for USC because I'm a Trojans fan. Hopefully they can, muster up another Pac-12 title run. I think as far as the Pac-12 is concerned, I mean, they have nowhere to go but up. They went 1-7 in the Bowls last year. Pretty poor performance as far as they were concerned. Same as the basketball, but I'll be heading out to the University of Texas on September 15th for the game against the Longhorns Trojans. They played a home and home, and they barely beat them last year at the Coliseum. I'm looking forward to see who the quarterback for the Trojans will be. Everyone's saying, well, Clay Helton's not going to come out and officially name a starter till next week before the UNLV game, but I think everybody is looking forward to JT Daniels to become the starter, the Gatorade National Player of the Year. And they actually beat the crap out. He went to Matt or Die. They beat Bergen Catholic last year. They touched them up pretty good. And I'm excited to see if JT Daniels, true freshman, will be the starter for the Trojans. And I'm also going to be going to the Clemson South Carolina game at Clemson this year. I've never been to the Palmetto State, the South Carolina Civil War game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those two games. I'm also going to be out at the Rose Bowl on November 17th for the USC UCLA game, which will be interesting because Chip Kelly is going to bring his dynamic offense to Westwood. So that'll be exciting. I mean, those are my three games that I'm going to be going to this year for certain. I might be peppered in with a Tennessee Volunteer game in between, but I'm just excited. I mean, I think it's going to be Alabama Clemson again. And you'd mentioned that, not really, I mean, Clemson's defensive line is supposed to be second to none this year. And everyone is just raving about how good, they're going to be. I mean,
they're basically the Golden State Warriors of defensive college tackles.
Yeah, I mean, they had what was his name? Christian Wilkins was out. Dexter Lawrence. I don't know. They're just going to be the top D line in the country this year.
A lot of top 10 picks. Yeah, and guys who could have left too, and they decided to come back. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I think we've talked about it in the past, but maybe the skill player worth watching is Khalil Tate with Arizona.
Oh, the guy's just insane. I mean, the guy's just video game numbers. I mean, his breakout performance in Colorado last year was second to none. I mean, just incredible. So, but the interesting thing, like always, is, all right, so they're going to have a book on him. Like, they kind of shut down Lamar last year. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with Khalil Tate. Great point.
Doesn't it stink, speaking of Lamar, that he's not there this year? Because that first game is Louisville at Alabama. That would have been a real fun one to watch.
Yeah, and that's the problem with scheduling these games so far in advance. And that's the other thing about Alabama. I mean, all right, fine, tip your cap. But, in the last, 18 years, they've only scheduled 4 true road games. They do this, neutral site, which I get, because you're going to schedule Florida State last year, but you're going to do the neutral site. Same thing with Ohio State. They're playing TCU at Cowboy Stadium. It's just whatever. It's all a money grab, and I get it, but it's just, instead of playing Charleston Southern or Chattanooga or whoever the heck they're playing, South Alabama, it'd be nice to see them, go outside, once every 5 years to play someone outside, the SEC. I mean, it's a little annoying if you ask me.
What do we think about Alabama and the quarterback situation? Speaking with them, I mean, we saw Tua, how do we say his last name? Tagovailoa? Either of us might not get it right. We need one of those pronunciation keys. but he obviously came into the national championship game and just came in long relief and took it over. I mean, maybe he takes it over because they're not prepping for him, and that was the ultimate Saban, to be like, yeah, you were the starter for like 2 years, true freshman, but let's just go ahead and sit you right now because we're here to win a championship. And I give him credit for that because he caused a lot of issues. And then when Jalen Hurts after the game was like, no, I just want to win, everyone's trying to give him so much credit. And then now he's piping up a little bit like, oh, I didn't know it was going to happen. But it's a real interesting conflict going on in Alabama where you usually don't get this kind of stuff.
No, it's weird where you have and Nick didn't really, he's got such a, it's a professional organization, Alabama football. That's what it is. I'm just upset because if Jalen Hurts wasn't pulled and, they go on to win, Tua's basically going to USC if he doesn't play in the national title game.
Is that right?
That's what I know. And, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be some interesting quarterback controversy down in Tuscaloosa this year.
Well, it's funny because from the sound of it, Saban doesn't seem to care. I think he really wants both in play. I think he's willing to give them both some play, and maybe he'd rather use Jalen Hurts as kind of the change of pace, running, dual threat type of deal. And Jalen Hurts obviously does not want that. But sometimes you just got to kind of roll with it and hope that if you want to get to the NFL, that your talent is obvious, and then when you get to those Senior Bowl type things and that people are scouting you the right way, that you'll get there anyway. But it's kind of a hard thing to put your faith in Saban this way, but he's really doing everything he can so that the team itself has the best chance to try to win again.
And I think they will. I'm looking at their schedule. They only have 4 true road games at Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at Tennessee, and at LSU. I'm going to try to go to that Tennessee game on October 20th. But yeah, I mean, they have 7 home games and, the neutral site game against Louisville to open it up on September 1st in Orlando. But, the schedule is looking good for the Crimson Tide to perhaps go 14-0. And that's what I think Saban wants. There hasn't been a team that's gone undefeated yet in this playoff system era yet to win it all.
So we actually have some games this Saturday. A little weird. You got 4 quick games here. None of them are really, prime time. Let's all sit around the TV and watch them. But you're not going to find that on Saturday, August 25th anyway. But it gets a little taste going. Is there anything you see from these games? I mean, I can tell you that obviously Hawaii and Colorado State are probably worth watching to a degree. Wyoming, New Mexico State, though Wyoming had Josh Allen gone, they must have someone coming in there. Is there anything from those games that you're focusing in on?
Not really. I mean, other than the fact that I want Weber State to go down to Salt Lake and somehow shake up the Utes, I don't think that'll really happen. But no, looking at the schedule, nothing really sticks out at me. Although I don't know, I'm kind of really interested in to see what Wisconsin's going to do this year. I really, I'm buying what they're selling. I really think they have a legit shot to mess things up in the Big Ten this year. I really like what Wisconsin's doing. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they open up home against Western Kentucky, which should be easy, but that's something that I'm going to be keying in on are the Badgers this year.
Well, and I think they're usually the type of team where you don't take them seriously because they're all about offensive line mostly and, the line play. And, a lot of those players will go to the NFL and do well. We don't get all excited about line play, but Wisconsin seems to have some real skill players worth watching this year.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he's going to be their, sophomore running back. I don't know. He basically came onto he burst out into the scene last year, but I don't know. They also have a Pitt transfer, Chris James, but I don't know. I really like what Taylor is going to, and then Alex Hornibrook is going to be the quarterback. It looks like for Wisconsin. The
issue is they have a really good skill player in the wideout Quintez Cephas, but he's going to be suspended. Right. Because of sexual assault. So that's a bit of a
Big
Oh,
Ten
the downer
theme?
there. Yeah, I know.
Is that a Big Ten theme? Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So, all right. Well, let's look at our first weekend here as a way to talk about these different teams. So, Thursday, August 30th is when things really start. And this is a great weekend because there's no NFL. So, it's just day after day of college football as we head into Labor Day. So, I'm going to look here at the teams that are ranked, unless you see something else here. But I see number 21, UCF. They're going to be in a different place now with Scott Frost out, going to Nebraska. He already had his house robbed, right? But they're going to be playing at UConn, and I guess Josh Heupel took over, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and
Weber State,
I think,
right?
Yeah, and yes, and Coach Edsel is back at UConn.
Oh boy, is that right?
Yeah, he left that. Well, yeah, I guess why not, right? Go back to where you were. And then obviously
Little Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, obviously Michigan, Notre Dame. That's going to be a good one to see what both teams. I mean, those are traditionally powerhouse programs, and let's see what happens with. I mean, this is the year Harbaugh's got to break through, right? He hasn't beat Ohio State yet. A tough opener on the road in South Bend.
And they named the transfer quarterback right from Ole Miss as their starting quarterback, so maybe they're going to have a quarterback worth something for once. I mean, I think didn't last year's quarterback transfer somewhere this year? Is it Rudock or something? I forget the guy. They all have they're forgettable names, but they do have the transfer from Ole Miss who has been named the starter. So maybe we'll see a little dynamic aspect on their offense for once.
And then not to move ahead, but like I have a friend of mine, a scout, will say he's going to be down at Doak Campbell for the Virginia Tech Florida State game matchup of 19 versus 20. That's on Monday at 8:00. And then also here's another intriguing game: Miami, who is ranked 8th. On the road to play LSU on Sunday, September 2nd. I mean, that's just like those two programs. I just don't get them. You know what I mean? Like they have enormous talent. I guess you could say the same about USC. But my point is college football is so weird that you just can't really trust the opening, or I can't trust the opening rankings. But that'll be a good game as well. I kind of like to see. Miami has to do with Coach Richt in his second year, who kind of, I think, I guess he didn't outkick his coverage the first year, but I didn't think the success was going to happen in year one for the Hurricanes with Richt.
By the way, did you see who the Michigan wide receivers coach is?
Who is that?
Jim McElwain.
Oh, nice.
We got Boise State, number 22, playing Troy, who of course beat LSU last year. And I think they have a quarterback, or they have a coach who is starting to get on some people's radars. Auburn, Washington's a good game, number 6 versus number 9. Auburn could be pretty good. They had a bunch of good wins last year, right? Didn't they beat? They beat like Alabama, right?
Yeah, and they should have, and they should have beat Clemson last year, but they I don't know. See, the problem with Auburn is their quarterback. You just never know what they're going to get. But
he's a top 10 pick right now as a mock draft guy. Who knows how that plays out? We've had this conversation in the past years, but
right. And I don't. Whatever. But then again, Sam Darnold was number 1, and I didn't get that either. But yeah, this will be fun for the Pac-12 because here we have like Washington, like. Probably going to win the Pac-12 North. Everybody is saying that they're the team in the Pac-12. Well, you got to go to Auburn. You got to beat Auburn. So yeah, I overlooked that game, and I also do like West Virginia playing on the road at Tennessee.
West Virginia might have some defense this year.
That's maybe. I just don't. I don't see it. I'll have to be proven wrong, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think they had a transfer who really showed well towards the end of the season, and they're looking. I mean, you need a little bit of some defense, not a lot in the Big 12, but you definitely need some. Washington's pretty highly thought of as usual. And it feels like Jake Browning's been there for 7 years.
I know, it's funny, and like they had Alabama 2 years ago. They had Alabama like, even though it was, what was it, 24-14 the final, but in that semifinal game, but like they blew their opportunity in the first half, and they really had Alabama kind of on the ropes there. But it's a game. If you're a Pac-12 fan, you have to win this game. I mean, you can't go to Auburn and lose, especially with Browning, senior quarterback. Coach Peterson is doing a hell of a job recruiting up there, and this is a statement game for not just the Pac-12, but clearly Washington.
Oklahoma's obviously going to be worth watching. They have players, and they're going to be replacing Baker Mayfield with Kyler Murray, very similar sounding name. He's going to play for the A's, I believe, right? When he's done with this?
Drafted by the A's. Yes. I guess when that choice has to be made, Oakland did draft him. Dual sport athlete.
That would be fun. So he's more of a runner, from what I can tell, but
yeah,
they'll be pretty good. Georgia's going to be. They were really impressive last year. They're going to have Jake Fromm, right? He'll be in his true second year, his true sophomore year, and they have They lost 2 running backs to the NFL.
Right, but they do have DeAndre Swift coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I just watched this Sportsbook Nation documentary 4-part series on Ole Miss versus Mississippi State, and they're basically the arms race between those two programs, and it seems like and at least down here in South Carolina, I mean, gee whiz, the last 8 months I've been seeing Georgia like normally it's Clemson and Carolina. I've been seeing so much Georgia Bulldog swag all over the place. It's incredible. So I guess Kirby Smart's got something going down there as far as the recruiting is going, and it looks like they're geared up to take down Alabama.
They didn't seem to fold like you're used to Georgia teams folding. Like they were pretty tough. They were meant to be in that playoff.
They certainly were, and they probably should have won that game, but it's one of those things where they kind of they took the step forward and weren't the the quote unquote choke artists like they had been before.
Penn State's another top team. Obviously, they lost Saquon Barkley to the Giants. Isn't it funny? Saquon Barkley, Giants, and then you're going to be watching Sam Darnold on your old team, the Jets. Might be starting.
That's kind of crazy, and everybody's favorite coach, James Franklin. I mean, the guy can't get any bad press. I mean, the guy is a living. I mean, I think he's a living saint. I don't think the guy's ever done anything wrong. America's hottest coach, plugged in, dialed in everywhere. Going 11-2 last year. Have a pretty favorable schedule. I mean, when you look at they're at Illinois, at Indiana, at Rutgers, and at Michigan and at Pitt. So they have 5 road games. 4 of those, I mean, I think are cake. A favorable schedule for Penn State.
Michigan will be hard. Wisconsin's tough at home, although that's a hard place to play. Ohio State, Herb will be back.
Yeah, I think that'll be his first game back or second game back. Yeah.
So yeah, they're in a. Franklin has gotten Penn State to a good place where they're certainly in contention, and they have a dual threat quarterback in the wings named Tommy Stevens, who may get some playing time this year, just as a change of pace, and then I guess he'll start once McSorley goes.
Well, yeah, and he's more of a prototypical quarterback. And he's 6'5", 230. McSorley's 6 foot generous,
He's like Baker Mayfield.
Right.
We talked about Auburn. I'm just looking at I'm still one of the few who read Sports Illustrated. Ohio State's going to be interesting because J.T. Barrett will not be quarterbacking there for the first time in like 17 years.
And it's one of those things where his leadership and his whole productivity can't be overlooked. And I don't know. It's strange. I mean, I don't think they'll have any. I mean, I guess the TCU game could be considered a trap game because Urban's not going to be there. But once again, it's not going to be a true road game because they're playing in Arlington. But yeah, so they don't
have a tough schedule unless Scott
really
Frost gets Nebraska much quicker. And he did get he got Central Florida from like 0 wins to almost 0 to 0 losses in 2 years. So this guy might just be that level of coach where he changes the fortunes of a team pretty quickly.
And I think he will. And I also think, obviously, it gets down to the boosters and all that. And I think the Nebraska, I think they're just sick of, being mediocre. So, I see that program recovering pretty quickly.
Ohio State's got a lot of NFL players, as usual.
Yep.
We talked about West Virginia. Will Grier is hanging in there, I guess, for is it his second year in West Virginia now, after he was with Florida? So they have some, from everything I can see here, they might be a player this season.
Well, and see, that's the thing. Like, I love West Virginia. I just until proven. I don't know. I don't know. And they have a.
They'll be in Charlotte on September 1st. Are you going to that game?
That's funny because it's funny because I was invited to that game. Although I think I do have to work. But yeah, see, I'm working 4 to 11 that night at NBC, so that's why I couldn't go. But yeah, it's just so weird. The Big 12 is so weird. I mean, it's just. I mean, at least they're going to have a title game this year, but they're back to having a title game. But it's just I look at Oklahoma. It's a tough. TCU is always tough. I don't care where you play them, but like West Virginia's last 4 games at Texas, home to TCU, at Oklahoma State, home to Oklahoma. Those are a tough 4. That's the cream of the crop in that conference, and you're playing them all late when you're going to be injured. I don't know, and then they're going to be, throwing the ball over the place, and it's going to be, like 55-52, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Michigan State's kind of up there with these rankings a bit. He really got them back after that 3-9 from a handful of years ago.
Yeah, that was so strange. I didn't see that at all. I guess a back to reality type of situation, but yeah. D'Antonio knows what he's doing. That's for sure.
Stanford is what they are. They have Bryce Love. He'll be an NFL player. I guess Stanford sort of is what they are each year.
Here's my question. Here's my question. For all the love, and I'm also, and I'll throw PJ Fleck after going 5-7 for Minnesota. For all the love. And I also like Mario Cristobal at Oregon. I think he's a fascinating find for the Ducks, even though I don't like Oregon whatsoever. But for all the love that James Franklin gets at Penn State, I mean, and I say this tongue in cheek, but like David Shaw, I take David Shaw over the Penn State guy every day of the week. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
You know what it is? David Shaw could have any job he wants. He just wants to be there. So I think I would absolutely take him. I think the New York Giants would have taken him. He would be in the NFL if he wasn't apparently so enamored with the area because that's where his wife wants to stay. Even though I always think that's a joke, because no matter how much a wife likes a place, you're going to force your husband to not take the best jobs possible because you guys like a place. Like you're going to live in the same looking place. I mean, I don't know.
But I mean, and he's been there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this will be his 8th year, and it's like last year. Well, no, I mean he had I don't know. It's one of those things where why would you want to leave Stanford? Are you going to for the challenge? I guess you haven't been there 8 years, I guess, but.
Well, you know what it is? It's that you'd like to be in the 1 or 2 loss range as opposed to the 3. 3 to 5, because you're going to do so much here, but you don't have the ability to get the turbo boosters to get to the next level unless there's a fluke. You're always going to lose that one game that you can't lose in order to be in the playoff chase. You might still play in New Year's bowls, those kind of bowls towards the end there, the big bowls, but you're not going to play in the playoff with Stanford.
Right, but so that's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I still like David Shaw.
I think he's really good. If he were able to coach Penn State, it might be a little different.
Now, what do you? Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's God. Give him Baylor. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
All right, we've talked TCU. I think around people here.
I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, is there anything that strikes your college football palate this year?
My college kink.
Yeah,
I want to watch Khalil Tate. I want to see if Michigan has a quarterback.
Michigan. Oh gosh.
Well,
Michigan, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's got it. There's a lot of hype coming in there, and he hasn't even matched Urban Meyer, which is a hard thing to match. I'm not saying it's not, but the weird thing is this guy was a quarterback, and where is this thing here? The Wolverines have no offensive coordinator, but they do have 3 coaches with a combined 25 years of experience as offensive coordinators at the college and NFL levels. So the OC left for USC, Tim Drevno. Jim Harbaugh brought in Ed Werder from
Ed Werder?
Ed Werder from Ohio State and Minnesota to coach the line. I hate this, having 5 coaches for one side of the field. Jim McElwain to lead the receivers. I'm sure he's pumped about that job. And then Pep Hamilton is the pass game coordinator in charge of QBs.
Yikes.
The starter will be Ole Miss transfer Shea Patterson.
Right.
So
the bottom line is they got to beat Ohio State. I mean, you can't go 0-3. You can't go 0-4 against Ohio State.
Here's the big key. This is why you don't want to watch them, because last year's NFL-style offense was 91st in scoring. Come on. You're Michigan. Get some players. You've had players. You're able to get players on the defensive side of the ball. Why is Jim Harbaugh able to get defensive players and not offensive players? I don't remember. Did he?
And they blew that game. And they blew that bowl game against South Carolina too. Holy cow, they blew it.
I feel like we ask this every year, but did he recruit Andrew Luck? I feel like no. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay, so he can get quarterback. He should just go get a quarterback. Take some time getting a quarterback. We talked kind of about Notre Dame. I just don't know. They're just
what about Jimbo going to Texas A&M and Kevin Sumlin? You mentioned Khalil Tate. Kevin Sumlin is at Arizona, and then you play to win the game. Herm Edwards is at Arizona State. So yeah, so you have all these coaching changes, especially in the Pac-12. I mean, I like Cristobal in Oregon. You got Chip at UCLA. You got play to win the game. Herm, Arizona State, and then it's crazy. I just think that the Pac-12 better wake up real soon, because they're getting killed. I mean, come on, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's not. This is one of those years where I think the storylines will come into play a couple weeks in, and I'll know who I want to watch. Last year, I knew everyone I wanted to watch. This year's a little different. I think it's Khalil Tate, and then it's the Blue Bloods. It's the big teams. See kind of how they play with each other. They're all going to have big. They're going to have big players that we'll be watching at the next level eventually. Does Rutgers get 9 wins this year? I don't know.
I don't know. It might be a drop. It might be a drop off. Let's look at their schedule. As a matter of fact, well, they open up with a home game against Texas State, and then they're at Ohio State, at Kansas, home to Buffalo, Indiana, Illinois. But man, look at that. Look at that last 4 games: at Wisconsin, home to Michigan, home to Penn State, on the road at Michigan State. That's, man. what do you even say to that? I mean, it's like I can't believe they actually got four wins last year. It's incredible. Good for them.
Yeah, and they got to go right to Ohio. Imagine if they pick off Ohio State week 2.
Dude,
you know what I was thinking to myself? Isn't it funny that for all of the absurdity that Greg Schiano had to go through, that if he was named head coach of Ohio State, they were like, wait, who are our backups? Oh, Greg Schiano. All right, Herb, we're going to give you a 3-game suspension for this. Just go ahead and say you're sorry. Just don't keep messing up. You really seem to have messed this up. Do you even know how to be human, man?
It's incredible.
You know, like, and then you see Buffalo playing them. It's like Buffalo might be Rutgers. Is Turner Gill still there? Is that what his name was? Oh God. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm thinking with that. Why don't we? I've been watching a bit more baseball lately after the terrible. It looked like my pick was going to come out right for the Mets when they started 11-1.
And then
the bottom dropped out. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Doesn't make sense.
I can. No, it doesn't make sense. But you know what doesn't make sense is the Nationals so they've gone through 5 managers in 9 years. I mean, I love, and then you do the stats, and then you come and basically the Nationals are like,
it's got to be Bryce, right?
No, I think it's more of. I think it all started. The curse started when they put the pitch count on Strasburg. They haven't won a playoff series. They've won division titles all over the place. They're in the playoffs. They haven't won a playoff series. It's just that's what doesn't make any sense to me. So you're going to get rid of Daniel Murphy, and then you're going to start winning again. I mean, they could go on a streak and somehow take over a wild card. Or
I think they're getting rid of everybody. I think they're except Bryce. They're going to let him play out the string here and then let him go somewhere else, which is ridiculous.
It just goes to show that their front office is Looney Tunes. And then you have the Cardinals, who are bringing up nobodies like O'Neill and Harrison Bader and all these guys that you never heard of, similar to Oakland, and they're just going out there and they're playing gangbusters.
30-year-old rookies.
I know, it's awesome. They got Miles Michaelis from Japan, who's playing the last 5 years in Japan. He's coming over, being an all-star. I mean, it's crazy.
So the big question, which you brought up, the Nationals, I was thinking about this. Who's, in this period of time, 2012 to 2017, who would you have rather have had? The Nationals run or the Mets run? So the Nationals... Oh. No, it's actually it's a good. Yeah, well, but here's what I'm going to say.
Mets.
Wait, where is this here?
Even though it's so bad, you'd rather have Mets because at least you're going to the playoffs and at least you make an appearance in the World Series. You know, at least you're having a little bit of.
Well, here's the thing. No, but here's the thing. You know what? You can't discount what it's like to have a hopeless regular season, though. There is something positive, especially in baseball, to having multiple good moments in a regular season that carry you through an entire summer. And I'm not discounting it. I obviously root for the Mets, but if you look at the Nationals, starting in 2012, they're 98-64.
Yeah, they do jack in the playoffs. Who cares?
Rookie year. Yeah, I know that, but it's nice to have a 98-win team in a regular season.
Yeah,
2013, they didn't make it, but they were 86-76. 2014, 96-66. Matt Williams, manager of the year. 2015, 83-79. Bryce Harper was the MVP, but they didn't make the playoffs. 2016, 95-67.
Yep.
Max Scherzer, Cy Young. 2017, 97-65. Max Scherzer, Cy Young. Lost the NLDS both times, 3-2, 3-2. Absolutely. Yep. I totally understand the playoff thing. But upper 90 win seasons is a thing unto itself that's amazing. We go to the Mets. 2012, 74-88. R.A. Dickey, Cy Young Award winner. 2013, 74-88. 2014, 79-83. Jacob deGrom Rookie of the Year. 2015, 90-72. They only got to 90-72.
But
Matt Harvey, comeback player of the year. They lost in the World Series 4-1. They swept the Cubs. 2016, 87-75, and a pretty fantastic, really edge of your seat wild card game.
Yeah, that's you just run into a buzzsaw with Baumgartner.
But like when you break it down like that, even as a Mets fan, you have to give some credence to that run by the Nationals. Those kind of winning seasons, like the Mets slipped in at 90 wins, and that was the high water mark. The Nationals, in those seasons they were making it, they were averaging 95 to 98 wins. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It is amazing, but then in the 3 of the 6 years, you go to the playoffs and you can't win a game 5. Get the hell out of here.
No, it's 4 of the 6 actually.
Whatever. No, they lost. No, they won. They lost in 2014 in 4 games. But my point is, my point is that like you're going to be. So you're going to tell me it was Matt. All right, I didn't like Matt Williams. That's
Davey
fine.
Johnson, manager of the year. Matt Williams, manager of the year.
That's what I'm saying. Dusty, I bet you they would. I bet you some of the players are really missing Dusty right now. I saw Dusty at the Bonds jersey retirement ceremony in San Francisco a few weeks back, which was so weird. By the way, I mean that whole retirement ceremony was so. It was weird, not because I was covering it, but like I watched that whole thing and it was like, I don't know. It was surreal. Everybody, I mean, what's his name? Eric Gagne showed up and like it was a who's who. Willie Mays went out there and talked, and like they love Bonds. I mean, if they didn't keep Bonds, the Giants are going somewhere else. So I get it. The importance of him being a Giant kept them, and they got the ballpark and the whole 9. But I don't know what I saw Dusty Baker out there. I'm saying to myself, man, wouldn't the Nationals just want to have him on the bench just because he's a player's coach? You know what I mean? And I know it's all analytics and the manager doesn't manage and all that other stuff that's going on now. But I mean, I look at the Nationals and you mean to tell me that 1, 2, 3, all right, so 4 of the 6 years you go to the LDS and you can't win a game 5 in 3 of them.
They didn't have to play a wild card though. They didn't have, you know what though? I totally, and I'm the Mets fan, but I'm saying it's a good debate because regular season dominance matters for 6 months. Like it keeps you in play for 6 months.
Only to get your heart broken. It's like the Toronto Raptors. Like, oh yeah, you're going to be so good, and then you just freaking stink when it comes playoff time. You know what I mean? Get out of here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough.
I'm the biggest Met killer this side of whatever the Mason-Dixon line. I'm just saying.
What were our picks again? Do you remember them?
What were our picks? I can look. I have it here, as a matter of fact, somewhere. I'm going to pull it up.
I think I had Mets over, which looked really good early, but
they it looked good for the first week or so. Oh gosh, I have them right here. Excuse me. So you had the Mets. Didn't you have the Rangers on the over as well?
Did I really?
I think. Let me pull this up again.
Yeah.
I have it here.
That was a hard one to call, though. Like it's crazy when baseball teams go under. It makes no sense sometimes.
And you have. All right, I have it right here.
I probably had Houston, right?
You had Houston over 96 and a half.
Oh shit. They're not going to get there, I don't think, will they?
Rangers over 71 and a half.
Oh no, maybe. They're 57. They're 57. I was looking at Los Angeles. Oh my God, Houston. Houston might have 81. To get there. Houston might have to get there though, right?
They might have to. I had Phillies over 73 and a half or 75 and a half. I had the Mets under 81, and I had the Mariners over 81 and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're gonna get there if they don't lose any guys to. Oh, you're over. No, you're over 81.
I know, but I just don't like the Mariners.
Yeah, but you can still get over, and they're not going to get anywhere near the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm strange, but yeah, I don't know. I was in Houston. I spent 3 hours in Houston's airport yesterday, and great airport. Well, what airports aren't great these days? It's a glorified mall. But anyway, yeah, those are the picks. So the Chris, it's crazy. The 2 guys at the top, Chris Davis and
Martinez. It's nuts. Makes
Why?
no sense. Like, just coming out of nowhere, you know? I know that he was pretty good, but like Chris Davis has ascended to like 46 and like 130. You know what I mean? It's weird.
It's very strange. And he plays on a cast. And they have Edwin Jackson. I mean, you have all these no-name. I mean, the A's have just been on an incredible run, and it's a who's who. I mean, patchwork pitching. I mean, after Sean Manaea, I mean, they've gone through like 11 or 12 starting pitchers, different guys, and then they just go on this run. Jed Lowry, where have you been? I mean, the guy's just performing awesome, switch hitting, second baseman, and they got the Marcus Semien from the White Sox. I don't know. I like the Mats on the corner, Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. And they got Steven Piscotty. And then did you see the throw from Laureano a few weeks ago? The absolute P. I'm going to send it to you. It's just an absolutely. This guy's playing center field and from the Dominican Republic. He's like 20 years old. He threw this guy out. Just an incredible throw.
I wonder who the MVP is going to be. I feel like it's got to be JD Martinez.
Absolutely,
pretty close though.
If not him, it's him or Betts.
Or Chris Davis, though. Chris Davis is like listen to this though. If they get to the playoffs, which they should, Chris Davis is
hopefully.
Chris Davis is on track for 49 and 130, 94 runs scored. 260. The problem is he's 261 average, 337 on base is decent, slugging 577, on base plus slugging 914. So I guess he's a little low, but geez, 49 and 130. But JD Martinez, oh my God, he's 48 and 137, 119 runs scored, 333 average, 405 on base, 655 slugging, 1059 on base plus slugging. It's like
it's a ridiculous year.
I'm sorry. Are we sure it's just swing angle?
I don't know. Actually, I thought it was exit velocity, exit velo.
No, but I mean, like, this guy just comes out and it's like, yeah, his career's over, and then he sees a video of Ryan Braun hitting. I think he saw a video of Ryan Braun doing something else, but I love like how weird is it? Like Jose Ramirez, like he's on track for having
a great year in Cleveland. Yeah, that's another thing. Him and Encarnacion probably having a better years than Chris Davis.
Yeah, so Jose Ramirez is projected for Jose Ramirez. He doesn't even look that big. He's 5'9", 165. He's on pace.
He's hitting 50 homers.
He's on pace for 47, 116, 111 runs, 296, 408, 620, 1027 on base plus slugging. He might be oh my God, like where do these guys come from?
And speaking of where do these guys come from, you know that the Texas Rangers they're already building their new ballpark. And,
oh my God, really?
I mean, we were there, 15, 16 years ago, not that long ago, when it was new, and it was great. But yeah, no, everything's big in Texas, but they're building a new park for next year. And I'm going to be there on Monday, the 17th of September, when the Rays play the Rangers. I'm going to get in touch with Roy, who's the special assistant with the Rangers, to get us on the field for batting practice again. And they're going to be building their new stadium. So Globe Life Park will be no longer. I went ahead and sent you that video, but
oh, cool.
Just the Indians all of a sudden get hot. They're kind of like overlooked. Like, I don't know. I just like that. I really like Francona. I mean, what a great manager.
I think it's so weird. And well, another guy I love the projected numbers. I just think it's so weird, the life cycle of teams now. When you think about the Mets and the Royals in that World Series, and you look at the fact the Royals were on their second World Series, and they win after obviously losing in Game 7. The Mets lose. But that just this many years later, they're both jokes again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
Well, that's just the way it is.
People it's almost like the primes of players are just so shortened, but then for others, they're not. Like, look at Nelson Cruz, another guy who's playing in Seattle. Now we know he's done some stuff over the years, but This guy might be like a Hall of Famer. And when did he turn 38? He's 38 years old. He's all of a sudden, like, he's so old, and he's on pace for 40 and 100.
And he was injured a lot of the year too. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll play 104. He's on pace to play 142 games.
Yeah. He's
It's like a video game where they just figure it out with this angle. But I mean, I remember when he came up with Texas, and he was great in the postseason, and he was okay in the regular season. But basically from the year 2009, well, he missed
11.
He missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really did miss a lot of games, and he stayed healthy in the one free agent year, and he hit 4108. But like, how about from the point where you're 34 and you've really never busted out, and then all of a sudden it's like 4108, 4493, and you go to Seattle and do that 43-105, 39-119, and he's going to hit 40 and 100.
But then how about the opposite though? Look at Chris Davis for the Orioles.
Oh, I know.
He signs that huge that doesn't make any sense. He signs the Bucco contract, and then he's like not even hitting 200 or something. You know, he's just struggling like nobody's business.
Well, nothing makes any sense. And then look at like Mike Trout. Like, it feels like he's getting a little more injured.
Fragile, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, and he'll be 20. He just turned 27. But
yeah,
like,
and I think 35, 36 might be the new 25, 26. I mean, people are just taking care of their. People aren't smoking cigarettes in the dugout anymore and drinking all the time. They're actually taking care of their bodies. And that's the other thing. You know, so I hear 2 or 3 weeks ago, what's his name? Peter Kostis. I think it was 2 weeks ago during the PGA Championship. So there was a rain delay. So these golfers, right? They had to pay an extra 9 to 18 holes in one day, as opposed to just your standard 18. And Peter Kostis makes, these extra 9 or 18 holes are going to be, you know what? The days of lazy athletes, even golfers are highly trained professional like athletes. They're not, most of them aren't like, they're not the Pat Perez's of the world. You know, these guys aren't the Sal Fisanos that are just, you know what I mean? Not taking care of their bodies. It's like, so I think maybe that shift is like, maybe 35 really isn't that, you know what I mean? But I do think you're not going to see 300 wins anymore from pitchers, and stolen bases have gone totally down. So yeah, it's nothing is normal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But this is why I think like it plays into Oakland's favor, because you're gonna get young talent, and you're gonna you have
they
your
build
one
like an
Chris
NFL. They build like an NFL team.
It's amazing, and you just roll the dice and you hope that you catch lightning in a bottle, and that's why
they're kind of like the Patriots without winning the titles.
Right, they're total. Yeah, exactly. But see, and that's the thing. You're just rolling out new players, and then getting rid of your Josh Donaldsons and your Cespedeses, and then just building your farm team and your farm system, and just hoping that you catch something. And it's rather exciting, to be honest, because last year, as a matter of fact, Oakland went on a huge streak. I think in September they won. They got 75 wins last year, which was ridiculous. I didn't think they were going to get 75 wins. I think they went 75 and 87 or something. But I kind of like their kind of method, because I'd rather root for Oakland than knowing what you're going to get than what you have with the Nationals, where all right, you're winning 98 or you're winning 90 each year, but you can't get out of the freaking playoffs. You can't give me one playoff series win. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then how about like Detroit completely fell apart? That Central is so bad. Kansas City, Detroit, Chicago.
That's the other thing. I've been hearing all this stuff about Chicago the last few years. Chicago hasn't done jack.
Yeah, it's nuts. And the West is really, it's so good. Other than why aren't the Padres good? Like, there's no reason they shouldn't be good.
They're never good.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's totally crazy. So I think we're thinking, it looks the Yankees and Oakland should definitely be in that play-in. because Seattle's 4 games back. Tampa Bay is the next up at 9 games back.
What do you think What do you think of this whole opener that Tampa is doing? You know, they have the opening pitcher. Have you seen what they do?
I didn't look into it. What are they doing?
Well, like instead of trotting their traditional starter, what they do is they bring in a middle reliever to pitch the first 2 innings because that's what they do. Are you serious? You didn't hear about this?
I think I did, but I didn't look into it that much. Makes sense. Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't believe Snell wasn't traded from the Rays. They got rid of Archer, but Snell's been dealing for Tampa as well.
So how about when DeGrom wins the Cy Young with an 8-10 record?
He won't win it. He's not going to win it.
If he stays at 1.79 ERA, it's going to be hard not to give it to him.
All right, here's even something crazier. The first time since the 1955 Milwaukee Braves, the first time the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, which I think that's a big story, they've rolled out 3 starting pitchers under the age of 21. I think that was kind of fascinating. Not to mention with Acuna Jr. and Albies. So
yeah,
they're a little ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I just think the Cardinals are crazy and the Angels are crazy. And when you look at the transfer of Pujols from one to the other, and it didn't matter for either side.
Well, I think the Cardinals, they have, not stealing technology or computer programs notwithstanding, the Cardinals just have that Cardinal way. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because think about the fact they got Ozuna, who was a big deal, and he hasn't even been that great
until they fired the manager.
Yeah, it was his fault.
Right.
Yeah, they're nuts. Yeah, I'm into baseball now.
Oh, I mean, it's so funny because at News Channel, a lot of people aren't into baseball, and I love the baseball and the hockey. I just love it. The football I could take, especially the NFL, and I've felt this way since Butt Fumble. So that's more of an indictment on the Jets than anything. But
are you not going to watch them with Darnold though?
It's funny because I was getting a lot of heat when he made his first start. I mean, I'll watch them, but I mean, until Belichick and Brady die, I mean, what's going to happen in the AFC East? Nothing is going to change. And it goes back to my point. There's something that you can't chart it. There's something. It's like not like an evil spirit, but there is something you can't measure, and it's Jets, Mets. It just is. It just is.
The Knicks too now.
And that's an embarrassment. I mean, that's a great point because it makes no sense.
Have you seen the final point on that? Have you seen my friend's Twitter account, Dolan J. Trump?
No.
It's one of the funniest things you could ever watch. So the guy, he takes James Dolan, puts a Trump hairpiece on him, and then tweets like Donald Trump. And the amount of things that overlap are absolutely amazing. So remember the ban, the travel ban, and then you remember Charles Oakley got banned. And so it's like he's using all the same language in the tweets. People absolutely love it. He was going after Woody Page today, and Woody Page was taking it and going back at him.
Now, what's going on with Oakley? He just goes nuts. He's gambling or something.
He's a little bit of an eccentric, as they would say.
He's doing the three. Isn't he doing that that big 3 basketball? Isn't he like a coach?
He probably is. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that coaches matter in that league, but
it's so fun. That's another thing. I mean, whatever.
Like this guy's just, it's hilarious. Like what he does. So there will be like a news nugget from a NBA writer Sources: NBA Board of Governors will vote on September 20th to 21st on 3 potential rule changes beginning in 2018-19, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy, Dolan J. Trump, will retweet that and then write, I would be willing to shut down the season if the Western Conference owners do not give us the votes for shot clock resets, simplify the clear path foul rule, which is so bad, and redefining the hostile act must get passed before preseason. Like, this thing is, I can't tell you how funny it is. It's like he goes after writers and everything, and it's just like people like the amount of things that tie in with each other is crazy. And like how Trump goes after he calls, the FBI lovers. So like Dolan J. Trump will go after the NBA lovers, Phil Jackson and Jeannie Buss.
And speaking of the Lakers, what do you think about LeBron? I mean, I know you already did your NBA, but are they like a year away? I don't get it.
So there's a bunch of things I don't get. Generally, I understand what happened. LeBron wants to be an empire builder now, and he's done everything he really wanted to do in basketball. He still needs basketball. He still wants to win in basketball. But you don't go to the Lakers right now.
No, you don't
to
go to the
win.
West.
You stay in the East, pick the best spot, or if you're going to the West, go to Houston, because that team,
right?
They matched up with Golden State very well.
Although Chris Paul, give me a break.
Oh man, pulling your hamstring when you're up 3-2. They finally built the team that can beat Golden State in one season. They did it, and now you can't trust it. You can't trust it. That's the problem.
And then they make threes all day long for all season long, and then they miss the threes.
Yeah, in the one game, in Game 7, they miss everything. The whole system breaks. But he built it though. It was amazing. That's why if I were LeBron, I'd go there. And now they got Carmelo Anthony, and they lost their other pieces, and it's a bad scene. But I don't understand LeBron.
Houston, we have a problem.
Exactly.
I love it.
I don't understand. I understand it personally, so LeBron going to LA. I understand it.
And I get,
he owns 2 mansions in Brentwood.
But one in Rockingham. No, but like I want to know but is it for next year? That's my question. Is it for next year? Because then they can get some players. I don't get it.
So stay in Cleveland one more year and do it next year. Don't play around with saying it's for next year when you're 34 years old in year 16. When you're 34 years old, you can't take anything for granted at this point.
Yeah, but if 34, and I know NBA is different because it's more physically demanding, but like, isn't 34? I'm just trying to.
The problem is he's been here since The problem is he's been playing full NBA season since he's 18 and has gone to 8 straight finals. So he's played like 100. Yeah, he's played like 125 games for the last 8 years. So
which is ridiculous.
So I keep saying you can only.
He stinks.
You can.
I love the hate.
Oh, I love LeBron. I thought that this last playoff was. I was watching that with rapt attention every night. I couldn't believe what I was watching, but you can only take it for granted after it's happened. You can only look in hindsight and say, "See, it worked." To be Magic Johnson, to be these people in the front office with the Lakers, and to say, yeah, this is house money year. Let's see where we are next year. No, get everybody. You didn't win because you got LeBron.
So they're going to get to Kawhi next year. Is that what they're going to do?
Kawhi might stay in Toronto now. Like, Toronto's a great place to play if you're a guy like that. He's going to own a country, and Kawhi's going to be an assassin. He's so good. But, like...
Well, you better in Toronto in the East. I mean, there's no one there.
No, excuse not to. Boston is insane how good they are. Like, they're insane how good they are. They have probably the best starting lineup. Their starting lineup might be better than Golden State. It's so good.
That's
but they have to stay healthy. No, I mean, their starting lineup, like Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Al Horford, and who's the guy I can't recall who I'm missing. I don't have it up.
Center, but the big guy?
No, Al Horford's the center. I think I'm missing the 2 guard. I'm missing the 2 guard. But they're
Marcus Smart.
He's third on the depth chart at shooting guard. That's how good the Boston Celtics are.
I don't know. I hate Golden State, but
I love Golden State, but
there's no way they're better. They're Boston's better. I disagree with that.
I'm making a point, but I'm saying like they're really, really good. But injuries happen. Gordon Hayward's leg broke in half. Kyrie Irving gets hurt every year, and he's got weird mental things about being the guy, and that's always dangerous. There's already whispers he's going to the Knicks. It's like not good.
Oh, give me a break. Yeah. Are you serious?
No, he wants to go to the Knicks with Jimmy Butler.
And Jimmy B and Jimmy D.
Yeah,
Jesus
that's right.
Christmas.
That's exactly right. But I don't like that LeBron went to the Lakers. Like, I actually don't like that he made the decision to go to that roster and then to approve the moves they made. They got Rajon Rondo. They got Lance Stevenson. They got JaVale McGee. They got Michael Beasley. What are they doing? Like,
hey, I'll tell you something right now. And I didn't know about this until because South Dakota State played like a little friendly international game against Carleton University up in Ottawa, Ontario. Do yourself a favor and look up the Carleton Ravens. They're out of the Carleton University in Ottawa, Ontario. They've won in men's basketball. They've won 13 of the last 15 national men's titles, which I get. It's Canadian basketball. It's different from NCAA basketball. But I didn't know anything about these guys. And all of a sudden, I was looking at like their. I mean, I didn't know anything about like Canada, really. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I just. But this guy, Dave Smart, he's the head coach at Carleton University. I mean, he's like, I don't know. He's buildings, and that's the thing. Like, I guess Toronto is a big. Well, they have been. A big, I guess, basketball city, but
oh my God! Since Vince, they've had like a top 5 pick every year in like the last 7 years.
It's weird, but I didn't know anything about Carleton College, so I looked up on them. I just saw that they beat South Dakota State because South Dakota State's pretty good. They have the not the Fromm kid, the kid. Shit, I forgot his name, but anyway, yeah, Carleton College, the Carleton Ravens.
So I have the one I forgot. So they're starting to have Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. That's pick 1, pick 3, pick 9, pick 3, pick 3.
Yeah, but here's the thing. All right, so fine, I'll give you Kyrie, but I'm not giving you an injured Gordon Hayward against whoever Golden State has.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he would be going against Draymond, but here's the thing.
Who's the advantage in the coach, though?
Brad's probably the advantage. I love Steve Kerr, though.
Oh.
No, Brad's an unbelievable coach.
No, I get that, but like, where's the proof? Like,
he's been great. No, he's the best.
Yeah, but it's just like but it's like Washington Nationals. It's like Washington Nationals regular season.
No, these guys go deep every year with nothing.
Yeah, they go deep with nothing. Now you're going to have something. Until you show me, you can't tell me. You got to show me. You know what I mean?
Well, they have a guy like. I don't think anyone saw, even watching college, how Jason Tatum is like a transcendent NBA player. It's scary how good he is, and he's 19, and he has a kid.
And I get that, and I am buying everything you're selling, but until I see it, you know what I mean? It's like Washington Nationals regular season baseball. Who gives a shit? You know?
Well, no, but I would argue that the Celtics they've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals the last 2 years.
Well, you better, because the East sucks. You better. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know. But they should. It's going to be it'll actually be a very competitive Eastern Conference Finals this year when it's Boston, Toronto. It's going to be fun. That's all dependent on injuries, though. So.
Oh, it always is. But they're very deep because think about the fact that the Celtics still got there without Kyrie and without Gordon Hayward. Because Jason Tatum was like that good. Guy's a freak of nature. And then they got like Terry Rozier, who stepped up and was great. And he's a bench player they got. I mean, they're really, really deep. They're very good. But you know, Philadelphia's good too. They have a lot of talent.
They're more intriguing.
Oh yeah. No, they're fun.
I would think it would be so much better if Stevens was with Philadelphia than up in Boston. I think that'd be more interesting. I don't know.
I think he likes having interchangeable parts, though. He's kind of that kind of coach where it's like I think he would take whatever he has and coach it to the best possible ability. So, yeah, I think he'd be good. Brett Brown he was exposed a lot in that playoffs, especially by Brad Stevens.
And speaking of tweets, though, what about this Colangelo tweeting with the fake burner accounts? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
He lost like the best job in the NBA.
No,
he was given it. He didn't even draft those guys.
What are you doing?
His dad gave him that job. It was like it's like a compulsion. It's a sickness.
I guess I like. Look, I have no pulse on the NBA. Really, I don't. And
he blamed it on his wife.
It's
some Italian woman. He blamed it on his wife, Barbara Bertini or something. Like she's out there on Twitter going after like Philly Broadside or something. You know, I mean, come on.
No, how about talking about teams that have fallen? What happened with the Atlanta Hawks? Remember they were kind of like hot for a little bit.
How about 62 wins in a season hot like 3 years ago?
That's what I'm saying.
They completely fell apart. Yeah, they completely fell apart. But they got Trae Young. They got Trae Young this year.
He didn't look that impressive. Ugh.
Yeah, well, you know what though? It turned out that Oklahoma team was pretty bad. Except for him, he really raised them up while he could.
Well, no, I know, but
he was kind of he was exposed a little in summer league, but then came on at the end. So,
how about the Duke kid getting into it with them? Of course. Oh, it's so great, and he's playing for Utah. It's awesome.
Oh, what the heck was this deal? Why was this Duke Canada tour such a big thing? What loophole were they trying to get around with this?
I will refrain from commenting.
Why? Is there a reason?
I will leave that up for the educated listener of this podcast to do their own research, and I will zip it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just going to leave that hanging on the high end I don't know. What do you think?
I have no idea, but I've never heard of this before, and it makes me think that they're going after those great Toronto players, or there's some loophole where if you're international, you can play games, whereas you can't play them in the U.S. at this time. It's just a weird thing, or it's a mix, or it was something where it's like, hey, let's really give a boost to this ESPN Plus garbage, where you pay like $4 more a month to a service we're already paying $6 a month for through our cable. But yeah, the Duke Canada Tour. .com.
Like they're not making enough. I know. Ugh.
No, but it's weird that it's Canada. Like this, what's up with that? What is the loophole that they're getting around here?
I know
esteemed Canadian RJ Barrett. So they got to do it for his local group. I don't know. It's weird, and it's like they didn't go. I thought that's what you were up there for. It's not like they went to the other side of Canada. They played in like Ontario the whole time. Quebec. Weird. Very weird. All right. Well, why don't we call it there? That was, hour 15. A lot of podcasts today.